Welcome to Inverness, a classic Donald Ross course in Toledo, Ohio that just had its 100th birthday. It's been hosting every type of event over the course of 101 years. We're talking US Opens, NCAA championships, PGA championships like the one Paul Azinger won in 1993, US Amateurs, Junior Amateurs, Senior Opens, and now the 2021 Solheim Cup. What you might not know is the club recently underwent a major renovation in order to restore the brilliance of Ross's work from over 100 years ago. Andrew Green was the lead designer on the project. They helped stretch the course out to 7,700 yards, really in hopes of establishing a place for the modern game to thrive, both for professional events but for amateur member play as well. There were some changes to lengthen the second hole, to incorporate a new green on the 8th hole, and to fashion 3 new holes out of the far corner of the property. The new 3rd, 4th, and 5th holes at Inverness are each basically a replica of one of the holes that Ross had originally designed but had been lost during a redesign in the 70s. To the golf nerd, this renovation has been a rollicking hit. To the fan who's never visited Inverness, though, the more stark changes can be viewed from the sky. I mean, they cleared out a ton of trees. Back in 2011, there were trees all over the property, but now it's wide open. You can see almost every hole from every hole. Now, one beautiful aspect of Inverness is just this perfect example of how similar golf holes can play very differently right next to each other. The first hole and the 10th hole, they're so similar, they share the same tee box. Their fairways are almost identical. Even the second parts of these fairways, they break off and they still look the same. You could throw a golf ball from one green to the other, no problem, maybe even with your non-dominant hand. From the sky, these holes almost look like twins, but on the ground things are much different. The 10th plays down into a bit of a bowl setting with all kinds of fescue trouble long and that classic Donald Ross mounding to the right of the hole. The first plays to a green that's far more level with the fairway, despite bunkers short left and right, and a valley on the ground before the hole. It's hard to be sure if this is exactly what Ross intended, but it's easy to understand when you look at it now. It's just a great visual into the mind of a legendary architect. One of the best spots on the entire property, especially for viewing tournament play, is the 12th hole. For starters, it's as variable as par 3s can get, playing as short as 150 yards for trickier hole locations near the edges of the bunkers, and as long as 229 yards for your long irons and hybrids. There are no trees on this hole. There's no water on this hole, but it feels like this is an island green with 4 bunkers that surround the entirety of it. And also, it's basically the center of the Inverness maze. From the 12th green, you can see players on the 2nd hole, the 11th hole, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th holes. We love that. So, what are the other quirks to Inverness? Well, each bunker is lipped by edges of grown-up rough. If you hit it to the edge of a bunker, that thick stuff definitely comes into play. It will stop some balls from tumbling into the bunker, but it's also going to create some really weird lies for any shots that get caught up in between. A tidy little stream runs throughout the course and breaks up the walk on 8 different holes. And when you get to the green, these greens are shaped like actual shapes, squares, pentagons, perfect circles, hard corners, distinct landing zones, places where the hole location is on your mind from the moment you step up on the tee box. And finally, the 18th is one of those holes with the great green, and the folks at Inverness love their 18th hole. And you can't blame them. It's a great little valley that carves its way up to the edge of the clubhouse with an elevated green that slopes heavily from right to left and back to front. Balls move when they hit this green. Inverness loves this hole so much that they actually have made sure that it will serve as the 9th hole during the Solheim Cup, just to make sure that every single match reaches this hole and passes by the spectators on the clubhouse veranda. That's a good golf hole and the perfect example of what Inverness has to offer.